Hi, this is Miss Delosier, and these are a really quick introduction to the nervous system. We're going to be doing the nervous system between now and like November 3rd. Um, you should be familiar with the basic parts of the nervous system. So the nervous system and the basic function, because we already talked about functions. The nervous system's job is to detect changes, make decisions, to stimulate muscles and glands, and basically to maintain homeostasis. So it responds to stimuli, it integrates those signals, and then it provokes a response, and it does it quickly. Um, so there's two different types of cells that compose neural tissue. The first is neurons. We've already talked about neurons. And the second is neuroglia. So neurons react to changes and they send the nerve impulses that are used for communication. Those are the ones that we talked about during Unit 2. Neuroglia, on the other hand, you don't really talk about outside of normally an anatomy class. So they kind of surround and support the neurons. They provide nourishment to the neurons. They do send and receive some messages, but they also maintain a really important blood-brain barrier that we're going to talk about when we talk about the brain and the central nervous system. So let's go over the just general functions. So there's three general functions of the nervous system: sensory, integrative, and motor. So the sensory functions are basically just receiving information. So there's sensory receptors all throughout the body, and they gather information by detecting changes, and they carry that information back to your central nervous system. Throughout this unit, you're going to see the abbreviations CNS, central nervous system, and PNS, peripheral nervous system. It doesn't make a lot of sense right now that I just wrote CNS, but I'm lazy. I don't know what to tell you. The next major function is integrative function, which is basically like interpreting. So the nervous system coordinates that sensory information that it takes in into sensations, memories, and thoughts, but it also uses that information to go ahead and make decisions on the body's response to that sensory information. And then the last is motor function. So that's when those decisions are being acted on. So the impulses are going to be carried to effectors. So those are your muscles or your glands. So the central nervous system sends those impulses back to your muscles or glands. We'll talk glands way later. And the motor function is typically going to be divisions of the peripheral nervous system. So there's a whole bunch that you're going to have to know about the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system is divided up into many, many subsections, and you're going to have a whole other set of notes on the autonomic nervous system later, but let's just hit the peripheral real quick on like a top level. So you have the somatic nervous system, which is going to transmit voluntary instructions to your skeletal muscles. Soma means body, so it's going to transmit voluntary instructions to your body to make your body move. The autonomic, auto, is going to happen automatically, right? The autonomic nervous system is going to transmit involuntary instructions from the central nervous system to smooth muscles, cardiac muscles, and glands. So the autonomic nervous system are the ones that you don't really control those. You don't have any decision making in those, which is cool because like if you had to send signals to your cardiac muscle all the time, remember your heart muscle all the time, when you fell asleep you would not be thinking about that and your heart would stop and then you would die. So that's good. So here are the divisions of the central nervous system. And this diagram is on the notes handout, which is good because you're going to need to know this. So the nervous system is divided into the peripheral and the central nervous system. The peripheral, the nervous system, peripheral and central. The peripheral itself is autonomic, and the somatic, right? And then the autonomic is further divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And the sympathetic kind of like is like responsible for fight or flight, and parasympathetic is like responsible for chilling you out, but we're going to do a whole autonomic later. So the central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. We'll have a whole other set of notes on the central nervous system. And then the peripheral nervous system basically connects your central nervous system to all the other body parts. So brain and spinal cord. So everything, all the nerves that branch out from your brain and out from your spinal cord are the peripheral, like the side nervous system. Yeah. So again, just another graphic also in your notes to go ahead and kind of reinforce the difference between central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, because you need to know it for the test, right?